Hello, amigos. Welcome to the party. I'm so glad you could make it. In previous episodes, we've discussed climate change, including an introduction to the topic, the causes of climate change, and the effects of climate change. In this episode, we'll take a closer look at the science behind climate change. In this chapter, we'll discuss how temperatures are rising, what's causing them to rise, and the effects of rising temperatures on humans. Stay tuned. Imagine a city with 50 degrees Celsius heat, a ghost town where the only sounds are the wind whistling through the empty streets and without the echoes of children's laughter in the school playgrounds. Sounds like a utopia, right? Sadly, it's the reality of life in some parts of the world. The core human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. That's 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. If the temperature increases further, the system will begin to fail. The system is designed to operate within a specific temperature range. Most people can withstand temperatures of 40 degrees Celsius for a short time. However, if the temperature is maintained for too long, the body will start to cook. If we live in a place where the temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, that's 10 degrees Celsius higher than normal. How does that affect our lives? Heat stroke occurs when the body's temperature rises too high, causing the body to begin to drain out. This leads to muscle lock around the lungs, and ultimately, the brain being choked of oxygen. Heat stroke is a silent killer. The Hajj is an annual Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. This year, over 1,300 people died as a result of heat waves. In response, people have started to work an average of 4 hours per day. This heat wave is killing people of all ages, not just the elderly. In India, the northern part of the country is being hit especially hard by a heat wave. Over 110 people have died, and more than 40,000 cases of heat stroke have been recorded. The National Weather Service has issued a heat wave alert for 75 million people. That's 1 in every 5 people in the country. Heat is a serious danger at the Paris Olympics in France. The weather is predicted to be very hot, and athletes may suffer from heat exhaustion or heat stroke. A severe forest fire has broken out in Greece. The fire is spreading rapidly, and firefighters are working hard to contain it. Fossil fuel use has caused the global temperature to rise to dangerous levels. A recent report claims that satellites like Elon Musk's Starlink are damaging the atmosphere and depleting the ozone layer. That's one hell of a problem on the surface of the Earth. Let's dive into the ocean and explore the effects of rising ocean temperatures on the species that live there. A study conducted on Rain Island in Australia found that 87% of large turtles are female and 99% of small turtles are female. The researchers concluded that the gender ratio is 1 to 116. The reason is that turtles lay their eggs on the sand. The temperature of the sand determines the sex of the turtle. If the temperature is above 33 degrees Celsius, the turtle will be female. This is called feminization. Coral reefs in Thailand are turning white. This is a sign of coral bleaching, which can kill the coral. Hundreds of thousands of fish have died in Vietnam. The cause of death is sea temperature rise. In 1989, the government of India declared the Gulf of Mannar to be the first biosphere reserve in India. The Gulf of Mannar was awarded UNESCO recognition. This biosphere is home to over 4,223 species of plants and animals. It is one of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth. This rich biodiversity is due to the presence of coral reefs, seagrass meadows, mangrove forest, sand dunes, oyster beds, and coral island. It also has natural pearls and skilled pearl divers. Sea surface temperatures have dropped from 33 degrees to 30 degrees. However, officials are concerned that the damage may have already been done. This year, India experienced an increase in marine heatwave days in 3 places: Lakshadweep, Kerala, and the Gulf of Mannar. This increase has had an adverse impact on coral reefs and the marine ecosystem. It is clear that species that live on the surface or in the ocean are affected by climate change. It's time for another episode of What If? A recent study reveals that if we cover 1.2% of the Sahara Desert with solar panels, that would be enough to power the entire Earth. If we cover the entire Sahara Desert with solar panels, it could generate enough electricity to power 96 Earths. What do you think the consequences would be? The energy observed by the solar panel is mostly returned back to the atmosphere. This increases the land temperature, which can have a number of negative consequences. This rise in temperature is causing the ice on these continents like Arctic and Antarctic to melt. Furthermore, this will cause an increase in rainfall in the Sahara Desert, which will lead to vegetation in the Sahara Desert, and the effect will lead the Amazon forest to become desert. This is due to the connection between the Amazon forest and Sahara Desert. A study from NASA's Calypso satellite reveals that over 182 million tons of sand are traveling from the Sahara Desert to the Amazon rainforest. The sand carries vital nutrients like phosphorus, which help the plants in the rainforest grow. Remember that 20% of the world's oxygen is produced by the Amazon rainforest. In my previous video, I showed you how to manage solar panel waste. Check it out to learn more. What is the world doing? What are people doing in their daily lives? Green investment and climate financing are supposed to be provided by developed countries. However, they are just talking the talk and not walking the walk. Despite pledges by developed countries to provide climate funding, 69% of the funds provided are in the form of loans that need to be paid back. Only 28% of the funding is in the form of grants. Let me make it clear. If your car was in an accident and the person who caused the accident paid you the money in the form of a loan, would that be fair? According to a recent report, developed countries are responsible for the majority of environmental damage and 2/3 of the existing carbon emissions. The drawback of climate funding lies in the definition of what constitutes climate funding. Any funding that addresses the climate problem may come in the form of cash, loans, or grants. In addition, the problem of double counting. In 2005, the European Union promised to provide 0.7% of its GDP for climate funding. In 2010, they pledged to give $7 billion. However, both promises counted on the same money. We are not prepared for our future. Climate change is chipping away at our present, and we are not addressing the problem. People who are working outdoors are most vulnerable to heat waves. They are at risk of heat stroke and other heat-related illnesses. Staying in an air-conditioned environment, drinking plenty of fluids, and eating fresh fruits and vegetables can help protect us from the effects of climate change. Climate change is unpredictable. I will come up with a breakthrough in the next chapter. Until then, enhance your knowledge about it.